What is the most difficult part, and in which the students find difficult, is physics. So when we enter physics, we have to start solving questions in a different way as compared to biology and chemistry, where the questions are generally stereotype questions which we find in books and all. But in physics, the question can differ as well. So when you start with physics, first of all, just read the question, and if you find the question is a stereotype question that you have already solved and it's found in a number of books, so you can directly solve it and have the answer. After you get the answer, just before you mark the answer in your OMR sheet, just try to put the answer back into the question so that you can see that the value or the formula that you are getting is making some sense. If it's not making sense, or if the situation is going imperceptible, then you should again work on the question. Perhaps you have made a mistake. So this is how you will reduce your error rate, right? So what most students do is, like, if they find a stereotype question, they just solve it and mark the answer, and in this thing they commit a lot of silly mistakes, and their NEET scores go down. But if you just do the small step, it takes hardly 10 to 15 seconds. You just have to put the value back in the question and just perceive the situation. Just imagine the situation, and you'll find that either it's fixing in the situation or it's not. If it's not fixing in the question, you can save your -1 mark that you would be getting there and get a +4 instead. So after doing this, you have to just start solving the question. If you are not able to perceive the question or understand the question in the first go, just leave it. Leave it for the end. Just circle it and leave it for the end. After you have just gone through all the questions and solved some of them, marked some of them, whatever, you will be having some time in the end. Now you have to start with the circled questions. So when you get to the first circled question, for example, then you would be thinking like, okay, so I have to understand it, I have to understand the situation. So first imagine the scenario, whatever you are getting, and then think of the variables on which the answer might be depending. And you can also do dimensional analysis. This is a loophole in MCQ questions. Sometimes the examiner forgets to see the dimensions. Sometimes all the 4 options are having different dimensions, and you know the dimension of the answer. So if you don't know the strategy to solve the question, you can just see the dimensions of the answers, and the right dimension one will be the correct answer. You can mark it and you can get a +4. But if this fails, then you have to think a bit more. Sometimes you have standard formula. For example, in some like the Planck's constant h, in some formula you have like Planck constant is going to be in the numerator, and other formula you have it in denominator. So sometimes you can link it that way and find and you can just cancel options which are definitely incorrect. So this is a way you can narrow down to some questions and make what you say an educated guess, which sometimes prove to be right, and this is very helpful, really helpful. But you have to believe that this is an emergency measure. You don't have to use it in solving commonplace questions. You can commit errors. You have to just solve these use these techniques only when you are not able to think of anything else. The third technique that you apply while solving questions is the calculator technique. You can use it in AIIMS exam and sometimes in NEET examination also. Of course, you don't have calculator in NEET examination, but you can use your mathematical skills to solve the questions. Sometimes what happens is that the examiner is too lenient with the options. Sometimes the options are very far away. So you can try to just use the values that are given in the question. Try to arrange them. Try to make a formula of your own. Even if you don't know the way, you can like put them in numerator and then denominator and divide it, and then you can make a number of combinations and then solve it. Sometimes it happens like you have used the calculation part and you get some answer, and if the answer is is matching with the options, then you can definitely tick it and you can move forward. So these are some ways in which you can improve your scores, make educated guesses instead of just leaving the question. You can just play out of crease and you can attempt those questions. So now I'll tell you how to use these techniques, how to use your analytical skills in solving a question. So this is a question from the AIIMS Prep Guide, page number 93. So the 6th question. So you have a non-uniform bar of weight W and all. So suppose you are not able to get how to solve it, how to make a formula. So I'll just tell you some ways of getting to the answer. So let's see the options. So all the options are having L in the numerator. So it's definitely going to be in the numerator only, because as you increase the L, the center of gravity is going to shift towards away from the left end. So L has to be in numerator only, and it's in this way in all the 4 options. Now you have to see what would be the effect if you increase theta 1. Theta 1 is an angle. So if you increase theta 1, you can feel that the upward force is decreasing. This means if you have to balance the torque around the center of gravity, you have to increase the length from the center of gravity. So this means if theta 1 will increase, the distance from of the left end from the center of gravity is going to increase. So this means that the answer must have theta 1 in the numerator. Tan theta 1 should be in numerator, or it should be directly proportional. So we have only one option like this. But see, if you increase theta 1, you would be decreasing theta 2. So this means it should be inversely proportional to theta 2. But then 2 options come in your mind, the B and D options. But then we have to again analyze this. Suppose you make theta 2 0. In such a condition, the center of gravity will become infinite, which is just an imperceivable situation. So this means the answer is B, and we have got the answer without actually solving the question, and we have got to the answer. So this is how you will have to apply your analytical skills in solving questions. Thank you for watching this video. So, we will be making such videos in future also to guide you to ease your stress and to make your preparation more efficient. Press the bell icon present below and you would never miss an update. Thank you.